Wondering how to find the best neighborhood in your home buying search? Finding the best neighborhood is a critical choice in your home search because, well, let's face it, where you live impacts everything. Your lifestyle, your home's future value, your commute time, your peace of mind, even your long-term financial success. Let's talk about some strategies that you can use to find the best neighborhood for you. Hey, if this is your first time visiting the channel and if you want to know everything there is about the Houston market and living in Houston, Texas, then subscribe below. Be sure to tap the bell so that you will be among the first to know about the Houston market and living in Houston, Texas. And by the way, I'm Michael Hughes. I am a Texas real estate broker and a Texas real estate attorney of more than 20 years. And along with my wife and business partner, Carol Hughes, we help folks just like you buy and sell Houston's best real estate. Now, before we jump in and just start scrolling around on a screen through different neighborhoods, let's take a quick moment and take a few steps back. Let's look at the larger picture. Finding the right neighborhood is going to give a different answer for each person. After all, the right neighborhood for me probably won't be the right neighborhood for you. And with so many neighborhoods out there, if you just jump in and start scrolling around on a screen without a clear idea of what you're looking for, then you're going to get overwhelmed really fast, or as I say, lost in the weeds. So let's avoid that as much as we can by narrowing down exactly what we're looking for in the house and in the place where the house is going to be located. And we can do that very easily just by asking ourselves a few basic questions. For example, is this going to be your primary residence, or is this going to be more of an investment or a rental property? Makes a huge difference, right? If you're talking about a place where you are going to be living, well, then you're going to be looking at a whole different set of characteristics and qualities about the house and the neighborhood, as opposed to if you're looking at an investment property where you want it to be a good rental and generate good cash flow. Entirely different set of criteria. Here's another one for you. How long do you plan to own this home? Now, of course, no one has a crystal ball and you can't read what's going on in the future, but most of the time when a person goes into a purchase like this, they've got some idea how long they're expecting to own the property. So is this going to be more of a temporary type property, a stepping stone kind of a house that you're going to be in for a little bit of time, but you're going to use it as a springboard to get to a different home, different type of home, maybe in a different location. So you'll be there you won't be there forever. It's a stepping stone kind of house. Or on the other hand, is this going to be a forever home for you? Is your intention that you're going to purchase this home and you're going to live in it until, well, till somebody has to carry you out? A forever home. That's going to make a big difference. If it's more of a temporary arrangement in your mind, then you're probably going to be a little more lenient with some things that might otherwise be flaws or that might detract you from the home, things that aren't quite perfect in your idea of what the right house is. But on the other hand, if your plan is to live in that home forever, for the rest of your life, then you're going to be much more choosy about the property. You're going to want to make sure that it checks all the boxes and it has all the features that you want. So that makes a big difference. Same thing with the neighborhoods. If it's just going to be for a temporary time, okay, maybe some neighborhoods that otherwise, I wouldn't do this normally, but I'm only going to be here for a short time. As opposed to, I'm going to be here forever. This neighborhood really has to resonate with me and I have to be comfortable where I'm at. What sort of a lifestyle do you envision yourself living in your new home? Are you looking for more of an urban or town center type lifestyle? Are you looking for more of a suburban lifestyle or even out in the country living more of a rural lifestyle. Of course, this makes a huge difference in where you're going to look. And that seems pretty clear, right? If you're looking more at an urban type lifestyle, well, okay, you're looking more towards town center. You're going to be looking probably at homes that have smaller lot sizes, smaller yards, maybe townhomes, maybe condominiums, things of that nature. But the further out you get from town center, well, okay, we can be talking about larger lot sizes, even out into the country in the rural areas where we might even be talking about acreage. So the type of home is very much dependent on what kind of a lifestyle do we expect to live. And that's going to translate to where is this home going to be located. If I'm looking for an urban lifestyle, I certainly don't want to be living 35, 40 minutes, an hour away from town center where I'm going to have to be trying to commute to get to the place where I want to live out my lifestyle. Now, there are a ton of other questions that we can be discussing and asking ourselves to more clearly define the area that's going to work out the best for us. But you get the idea. Taking the time now to have this thought process and figure out a little bit more detail about what we want from the house, what we want from the place where we will be living is going to be very helpful in choosing the best neighborhood for us because our goals are going to define our search. For example, let's go back to the primary resident or investment property question that we asked earlier. If you're looking for a primary residence, then you're going to be much more attuned to individual characteristics of the house and of the neighborhood. You're going to be probably much stricter on, does the house have all of the characteristics that I want? You're going to be looking at things like home amenities, neighborhood amenities, commute times, and what is the general flavor, atmosphere, environment of the neighborhood and the surrounding areas. But if you're looking at a property that's going to be an investment and your primary goal is this going to generate a cash flow for me or not? Well, then you're probably going to be looking at things like, what are the rental rates in the neighborhood and the surrounding areas? What is the ongoing economic activity? How are homes appreciating in this area? And what's the stability of the neighborhood and the surrounding area in terms of its economic growth and development? A whole different set of characteristics when you're trying to evaluate whether this is going to be the right neighborhood for your purchase. One of the most important things you can do in your home buying search is to partner up with a professional, experienced real estate agent who understands the local market trends. Professional real estate agents do a lot more than just pull listings off of the MLS. We provide insights and information that no algorithm or online tool could ever hope to match. For example, your agent can help you understand that in some neighborhoods, the homes are appreciating at different rates. For example, you will find, it's really a fascinating thing, you'll find as you're looking at different neighborhoods that, let's say we have homes in this neighborhood up here, and they're selling at a certain listing price and they're appreciating at roughly a certain rate. And then you cross a street and you go to another neighborhood, and what you'll find in many instances, those homes are selling at noticeably different listing prices and they are appreciating at different rates than this neighborhood up here. And all we did was cross the street. And that happens all over town. And your agent can help understand where that's happening and what the differences are. Your agent can help compile and gather all this information so that you can compare and contrast different neighborhoods to narrow down your search as to what's going to be the best neighborhood for you. Now, once you've zeroed in on a specific neighborhood or a specific part of town, there are a ton of online resources available so that you can do a lot of research about that particular area before you ever actually go there. Let's take a look at some of the tools that are available. Google Maps and the street view of Google Maps is an amazing tool to help you check out the neighborhood, its general layout, what's in the surrounding area, how close is this particular neighborhood to other attractions or places in town, what are some commute times. Wonderful resource for looking at all of that. One quick word of caution, though, about using Google Maps. If you're going to use the satellite view to look at the features of a specific property, sometimes those satellite photos are not updated very often. So you want to be careful in relying on what the individual property looks like on Google Maps satellite view, because that satellite photo might be pretty old, and that could result in you having some outdated information about the property. But for the general neighborhood surrounding area, it's a fantastic tool. When it comes to information about schools and school districts, there are a few really great resources, including niche.com, greatschools.org, and the Texas Education Agency website at tea.texas.gov. All of these are going to give great insights on the schools and the ratings of the schools in that area. When it comes to information about vital statistics on a neighborhood, such as crime data, demographic information, other things like that, neighborhoodscout.com is a really great resource that I recommend to my clients all the time. There are other resources out there to research crime rates in particular in a specific area, and those would be local law enforcement websites, such as the local police website, the county sheriff, or the constable's office website. When it comes to floodplain and flood zone information about a neighborhood or a particular property, FEMA has a resource called the FEMA Flood Map Service Center. And if you just Google search FEMA Flood Map Service Center, it will bring up for you a website with an interactive map that allows you to search by address to see if a property is located in a recognized FEMA flood zone. This, of course, is going to be very important information. Your lender and your insurance agent are going to want to know whether your property that you're purchasing is situated in a flood zone. There are other websites with a lot of great information, such as city websites, county government websites, chamber of commerce websites. All of these are going to have great information on things like zoning, upcoming developments, upcoming business initiatives, community planning, and community events. Now, these are just a few examples of the types of websites that are available out on the internet with information about specific neighborhoods and areas of town. If you'd like more detailed information about it, send me a quick message and I'm happy to point you in the direction of all kinds of resources that'll be really helpful for you. Now, once you've done all of these things, it is time for the last and the most important test: actually getting your feet on the ground and going to the neighborhood. Online map searching, online internet researching, all of these are very important tools, but nothing compares and nothing can beat actually going to the neighborhood, walking on the streets yourself, driving through the neighborhood yourself, visiting the neighborhood amenities and features, and seeing what you think of them in person. Now, when you do that, I want you to pay attention to the little things. Don't let anything slide. Notice everything. Take note of everything that's happening, even the little things, because having just visited the place for one day, okay, you might be willing to let something slide, right? But after you've bought a house there and you've lived there for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years or more, that little thing that you were willing to let slide on a one-day visit could be the thing that drives you absolutely bonkers. So make note of it and use that in evaluating how this neighborhood feels to you. When you go to visit the neighborhood, pay attention to how the neighborhood impacts you. I tell clients, pay attention to your 5 senses. How does the neighborhood look? How are the homes maintained? How are the yards maintained? Are they well kept or are they overgrown? How does the neighborhood sound? What's the traffic noise? What's the traffic congestion and the traffic patterns coming in and out of the neighborhood? What are some other things that would generate a lot of noise in particular areas of the neighborhood that might be objectionable to you? How does the neighborhood smell? Now, it's hard to tell from an online search whether the neighborhood, for example, sits right next to a sewage treatment plant. And you've got that smell wafting across the neighborhood. The neighbors have lived there so long they don't even notice it. But without a visit to the neighborhood, you wouldn't know, perhaps, until you actually were there for a period of time. All sorts of other things. How does the neighborhood feel as you walk through it or drive through it? Are the neighbors interacting with each other, or does the place feel a little more isolated? If there are neighborhood amenities, what's their condition? How well have they been kept? For example, is there a swimming pool? What's it look like? Is it kept up well, or is the water green and no one really cares about it? These are important things that will impact whether or not you're going to feel comfortable in this neighborhood. Another important factor to bear in mind is you'll want to visit the neighborhood at different times on several different days. Don't base everything on a single visit in the middle of a workday and decide that's what this neighborhood looks like, feels like, sounds like, because it could be very different. The neighborhood in the middle of the workday could be vastly different than what the neighborhood is like during rush hour or on a weekend day when everybody's home and there are a lot more people around. So you'll want to look at the neighborhood at different times on different days so that you get a more complete picture of what it would be like to live in that location. If it's possible, make arrangements with your agent to visit the neighborhood with you. Your agent will be able to explain a few things about the neighborhood, and if you have questions, they'll be able to bring a professional eye and maybe give a little bit of a different insight as to why certain things are the way they are in that particular neighborhood or in that surrounding area. Look, ultimately, the question boils down to this. You are looking at purchasing a home, possibly that's going to be your primary residence or that you're going to be making a significant investment in. The neighborhood has to work for you. It has to feel right for you. If you're going to be living in the home and if you're in the neighborhood and if you feel at home, well, then you're home. But if for any reason you get a feeling that's just not right, you can do a couple of things. You can either dive into and explore why you feel that way, and if there's anything that can be done about it, or you can use that as your cue that this may not be the neighborhood for you. This may not be the best neighborhood. Let's scratch it off the list and move on to the next one. Finding the best neighborhood for you is much more than an online or a paper exercise. Now, it can, and it probably should start out that way. But eventually, you're going to need to actually go to the neighborhood, walk on the streets, drive around in the neighborhood, interact with some of the people so that you can get a feel for how it feels for you when you are there. So let's define our goals. Let's work with a professional, knowledgeable real estate agent such as Carol or myself. Let's use our online tools to narrow down our choices. And then let's get out there and explore. By doing that, we will find the best neighborhood for you. Now, whether you are looking to start your next home buying search next week, next month, or even next year, Carol and I would love to help make your next home purchase smooth and worry-free. So click on the link below to set up a one-on-one Zoom consultation. Or, of course, you can always give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. We are never too busy to hear from you, and we are looking forward to helping you buy or sell Houston's best real estate.